like a god.
Gosh.
There was
Wow.
there was like somebody there, and we finally realized later they were like, no, we're just here making sure you guys aren't stealing anything because there's no one else here, you know. But it's, I mean, to have a selfie with the Mona Lisa is a rare enough deal. Only Roger, only Shackley can pull things like that off, you know.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's awesome. All right, well, good. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm still trying to navigate through some of this. There we go. That's a little better. And Shawn, we just appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and time away from your family to be here. It really means a lot to us. And I know so many people that are joining here on the Zoom are going to get some great information from you and live down memory lane a little bit here. Cheryl has some questions for you. And if you are ready to get started here, I'm going to go ahead and what would you like me to do, sweetie?
Move that over so I can.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, let me actually pin him,
Yes, that would be good.
and we'll pin ourselves as well, and we'll get this party started. All right.
That sounds scary. We're pinning people.
Yes, yes. You have the presidential master pin once again.
All right, that sounds good. Cool. Well, thanks you guys for having me. This is good stuff. You guys are our family. You know, we're family. We appreciate you too, and the friends and mentors that you've been over the years, and certainly everybody on the call. I appreciate the chance to, give me a chance to chat with everybody tonight. So thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks for coming. We love you guys.
Absolutely. Well, sweetie, with that, why don't we give him the proper introduction that he is due?
We are so proud of Shawn and Carmen. I mean, Shawn has been with the wellness industry for over 19 years, but in network marketing over 28 years. And he's still just a kid. But he originally went to school to be a commercial pilot. And he probably flies as much as some pilots. But since joining the Shackley family now, they have a handsome son and a gorgeous daughter. They've lived around the globe. They are world travelers. And actually, Carmen was the first one, I think, to see the potential in
network marketing.
Yeah. So tonight, we're so excited to have Presidential Master Coordinator Shawn Gray with us. How you doing, Shawn?
Woohoo!
Great. Yeah, thank you. It's good to see. I know many of you that I see in the calls, so it's great to see some awesome faces and some familiar names and to hang out. This is kind of like you said, trip down memory lane, kind of family back together again. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. So let's get started with a little bit about maybe way back in time, because everyone made a decision at some point to join a pyramid deal, right? So
Sure.
the idea was, what was it, do you think, that Carmen saw, and then what did she say to convince you to get involved in this crazy industry of MLM or network marketing?
Yeah, it's if I try and cliff notes it and summarize it, it was pretty wild. We were in college, and I'd always wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. I think everybody has those dreams, and I don't know why. I didn't have any pilots in my family. My grandfather flew on the farm. He had a little crop duster type thing, but it was never like in the blood, but it was just something I wanted to do, to the point where I had sent letters to the senators in Minnesota, where I grew up in a small town, Minnesota, and like wanting to get into the Naval Academy and trying to be a naval pilot and things like that. Decided not to go the military route, went to the University of North Dakota, one of the best civilian aviation training schools in the country. It was an expensive deal. I mean, it was, if you didn't have the military paying it, I think, I got done. That was in the mid 90s. I had 100 grand in debt then, which in today's world at college levels is, 4 times that. But I loved it. I went through all the training. My folks grew up in a lower middle class family. They did what they could. I borrowed the rest. And I was just doing what everybody said you're supposed to: just go to school, get an education, go get a job, and go work hard. And then Carmen and I were waiting tables at Chi-Chi's, the Mexican restaurant in Grand Forks. And I don't even think those things are around anymore, which is kind of a travesty. I mean, that was chips are free, dinner extra, and that maybe is Paradiso, but but this guy that we worked with told her and I my senior year of college, Carmen had graduated. Kind of, we knew we were going to get married, but she was waiting for me to get done. She said, "Hey, I found a way that this guy told Carmen and I found a way that you can make some money in your spare time, like part time, a couple hours a week, make some money." And at the time, I had like 21 credits of 400 level classes. I was president of the fraternity on campus. I was working a couple of jobs. I'm like, spare time, you're a moron. That's not going to doesn't work. Leave me alone. But Carmen was smart enough at the time, as the ladies usually are, to say, well, let me see what this is. And obviously it was with a company called Excel that some of us know about. And she twisted my arm enough to say, let's just look at this because it makes sense. And I think that, like, for any of us, like, some of us have been in this profession for a while, some of us are a little younger in it. I think it makes sense to put our minds where we were when we started and where someone else is when they are starting, to try and be empathetic
Right.
with their thought process at the time. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Marty, I mean, it's like, because sometimes we do this for, decades. We just think we can teach and instruct, and like, no one needs a teacher. Like, they need a partner, and they need a confidant and a friend, and they need somebody that can say, look, I get where you are. I understand, whatever that may be at this point in their life. And so, we were at the point that said, I looked because Carmen asked, and we saw a way to make a few $100 a month, which, at the time was meaningful, life-changing income. And still today, 3, 4, 5, $600 a month is meaningful income for, pretty much everybody. And so, we started working in that, and enjoyed it. Spent 5 years being broke, cutting our teeth, learning everything. And it wasn't until probably that, I called Marty, who I had just met, Marty and Cheryl, just from trainings in Minneapolis, and we weren't in your group, and you didn't know who we were, but I'd been to some of your trainings, and you were gracious enough when I called and said, "Hey, can I, I'm going to be in town. Can I start?" And going to be in town as I was in Grand Forks, and I would drive to Minneapolis if you would agree to meet with me. Could I pick your brain for a little bit? And so you were gracious enough, you guys were gracious enough to share your wisdom and time with me, what is coming up on 30 years ago, just under 30 years ago
Wow.
now. And,
Yeah.
Wow.
and it really helped give Carmen and I a lot of direction when we were, very green around the gills, or green in the business, I guess, I should say. And still learning. And so I'm very grateful for that, and always have been and always will be. Carmen and I are for you guys. And, so thank you, public forum here for
Absolutely.
your
Well,
awesomeness.
this is where I say, isn't it cool how the student became the teacher? And
Yeah.
we are totally your biggest fans, and we're just so grateful that we get to continue to be in business together.
Yep.
And to be friends and celebrate your success. So my hat's off to you. I mean, you've done an amazing job, and the humble beginnings doesn't mean that that's going to define what your future is. And as Cheryl always says, don't let your destiny keep you, or don't let your history keep you from your destiny.
That's right.
So
Yeah, it's really wild, and I'm grateful for your kind words, Marty and Cheryl. Our group in China. So when Excel went away and we found Shackley, and here we are, and sometimes the things that you think are the worst things that could happen in life end up being the best, which is what I see with Excel going away and us finding Shackley.
Yep.
And then them saying that they wanted to launch internationally. I mean, that many years ago, we just started asking people if they know anybody from Taiwan or have any family members there or whatever. And met a
sure.
lady on an airplane, and she said, hey, you should talk to my aunt, and in Taipei. And it kind of led us over there, and it led us into where it is. And so we've got a great group in mainland China. And every morning, these guys, every morning, they get together at 7 a.m. on a call.
Wow.
And I do Monday mornings with them. Sunday nights my time, our time. And they have from 7 to 8 a.m., 7 days a week, rain or shine. They get together and they read it. They study a book. Somebody will read passages from a book, and then they'll talk about it for like an hour. They spend an hour. And they're reading Dr. Shackley's book now. They're reading Reflections on Philosophy.
Yes.
And so I just, last night at this time, I was chatting with them there, and it's pretty wild to look at Dr. Shackley's philosophy, and they're studying it inside this book about how, regardless of where we are in our life and in our experience, that, the creator puts this life force inside of us that says the moment we decide to change our thinking and put the energy and the thought process towards the things that we want in life as opposed to things we don't want in life, things start to change. And so that was our conversation, last night around this time. And it's pretty wild when you sit back and look at, I look at saying, Carmen, I said, we really kind of want a business overseas. I don't know how, I don't know anybody. I don't, but we'll just, we just envisioned this, like we'll manifest it. We'll figure it out. And it wasn't without pain and suffering and trouble and failure and headache and, feelings of like, is this the right thing? But there's been too many experiences in life that, Dr. Shackley's ideas in this book are legit and they're real. And so, here we are 19 years into Shackley, and I'm feeling like just very grateful for the fun we've had and the experience and the team and the whatever. But I really am feeling like the true destiny of what Dr. Shackley created and what we carry on today is just really beginning. Like it really is just the start of how we're going to touch the masses around the world, and really what this business can do globally and what it can do on an individual basis, a community basis, and a worldwide basis. I really think we're just getting started. And I mean that with all my heart after 19 years. I think, Cheryl, you and I talked a little bit about it. I think you guys feel the same, don't you?
Exactly. We're just getting started.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't for Shackley and all the nutritional products and all the things that we've been able to benefit from, we have on the slide now some of the pictures of your lovely family with London and Jade being added now. And, what's really cool is, and I don't want to get into the real nitty gritty details, but
yes, he does, but he won't.
Well, I'll just say it this way, that a little birdie kind of said, hey, if it wasn't for Shackley and the nutrition, there may not be a London. And if it wasn't for Shackley, there definitely wouldn't be a Jade. Talk a little bit about that.
No, there's no question. I mean, we didn't, you meet so many people that join Shackley because they have had a great product experience, and then they look at the business. I mean, I think the four of us, you two and Carmen and I, were the same. We were kind of like, hey, we kind of need I want a business that makes sense. Like I think we all looked at this thing and said, at the time, I was not taking any supplements when we met Shackley. I thought they were for old people.
Right.
I mean, I was in my young 30s. I'm like, old people take vitamins. Like, what are you doing? No, we made fun of that. For 10 years, we made fun of people that took vitamins. I did. I'm like, I'm an idiot. You look back at it now, you're like, oh my gosh.
Lotions and diet pills.
Oh my gosh. It was like,
buy a lot and let it rot.
Exactly. Oh God, but you look at it and, like, honestly, I looked at it and said, well, there's a market for it. Like at the beginning stages, I'm like, well, people are buying this stuff. And I don't think any of us really like tried the product, say like, I'm going to sample the product to see if it's good first. Like there was none of that. There was like, the business makes sense. And these guys have been selling this for 50 years. Like somebody has to like what they sell. Like,
right.
You don't stick around that long. Like, so we'll just try it, And so we got in the business, and the smart people said, just take the products. I'm like, which ones? Well, all of them. Okay. And so you take the products, and then, we had gone through a couple of miscarriages prior to London. We'd been married for 9 years and tried to have kids, no kids, 2 miscarriages. Carmen's progesterone level was super low. And we were supposed to take this prescription progesterone thing next time we tried to have kids. Well, Excel goes away. We join Shackley. We start taking the products, and then we find out we're pregnant 3 months in, and she hadn't been taking the prescription. It wasn't the plan, Wow. And I remember very vividly driving to the hospital to go get tested because it'd been like a month, and thinking, we've been on this road before. Like there's twice we've been through, and it doesn't end well. Like her progesterone is supposed to be is 20 normally, and it's supposed to go up when you get pregnant to support the first trimester, and Carmen's measured at a 2 both times, And so we went in and we got measured, and her progesterone had gone from a 2 to a 32. And
Wow.
the only difference was Shaklee supplements, not intentionally.
Wow.
Like if we're gonna be in this business, we should take this stuff, you know?
Wow.
And so here we have London today. He just turned 18 in November. He now has his own Shaklee business. He
Hey,
know,
woo.
it's pretty cool. He's jacked about. He just got his first customer here a few weeks back. His buddy's mother, you
Nice.
know, and so he's beginning to learn this, and it is really wild. To your point, Marty, to say I can't. I'm not convinced he'd be here without God and prayers from family and friends, but
Amen.
certainly
Amen.
with Shaklee's products, and without Shaklee, we would not have gone to China and experienced that and felt the pull on our heartstrings to say we want to adopt a girl and we want her to be Chinese, and we went through a 3-year, amazingly crazy process that is a story for another day, where planned from above that we never should have had. This little girl should never have come to us. She basically Jade had a tag as a special needs girl. They don't like adoption for foreigners to adopt with for a healthy child in China is non-existent anymore.
Right.
And
Right.
so they told us it was. Then we got approved. Then they said, "Oh, you can't, but you can adopt a special needs girl." And so she was actually a special needs kid, had an enzyme deficiency. We said, through the grace of God, we said, well, it's her. We love her. We'll take her. And then went and got her tested, and all of her special needs were false positive. She was totally healthy. And it's just like all of these things that are like you can't make this stuff up. But without Shaklee, you're right. I mean, life would be, I can't imagine it without that. Business aside, nutrition aside, but relationships and family and things like that are things that are so hard to quantify and to explain to people that's why it's worth Shaklee not just being a business, not just being a hobby, but being something that we make a lifelong commitment to, and that we make a lifelong commitment of telling people about.
Right.
Like actually sharing it with people,
Right. Shawn, you've given me goosebumps. I just love this story. And I feel like Jade willed herself to be your daughter. I think she chose you and Carmen.
Yeah.
And she is gorgeous. So is London. And of course, I might be a little prejudiced. They're like my grandbabies too.
They are. Yeah. Yeah.
And I can see my daughter on this call taking notes because she wants to be a grandma. So I hope you got all that, Amy. And
yeah, I love it.
What's your favorite product, Shawn? You can pick more than one.
No, honestly, my favorite product is the Youth Activating Serum.
Yeah, magic.
I love it. It's magic. I love this stuff. Like seriously, you're supposed to have a month. I go through a bottle every week. I mean, I love this stuff. That is so good. And which is weird. It's not a normal one that a guy would say, I love the Youth Activating Serum, but I do. I absolutely dig it. I would have to say that's number one, but on top of that, I would say that a life shake and a life strip.
Yep.
Or immunology, I'm still kind of a life strip guy,
Yeah.
Me
too. That's what I think.
Yeah, every morning. It's just like I can't make. When I travel in China, a lot like it's very culturally normal to have breakfast included in your restaurants. And so if you stay at these Western Eastern combo restaurants, a Marriott or a Hilton or something, they'll have all these massive breakfasts that normally in the US it'd be like, sure, come down to the buffet, it's $25. In China, it's all free. It's all included in the price of the room. And I'll go to some of these like JW Marriott sometimes, and you'll walk into you're like, oh my gosh, this restaurant is bigger than my house. I mean, not that, but it's wild. And it's like all free, everything. And honestly, I still get to the point where I just don't feel as good as if I just have a shake.
That's right.
Like I literally won't go eat them, even if it's free. I'll just go up to my room and I'll have a shake and I feel great. I just feel that much better. And I would say that if I was not involved in Shaklee from a business, I would still take it every day. Our son, we made him take it every day forever. And then you get into the teenage years where it's like everything mom and dad say is wrong. And honestly, as a looking at a second generation, Carmen and I made it a very intentional choice with London as he was growing up as an adolescent, not to push Shaklee on him too much, because I'd seen a lot of older generation folks, like tenured leaders, whose kids really didn't want to have a lot to do with Shaklee. And I didn't know why or whatever, but like we made so when my 15-year-old comes home and says, I want to go buy this protein from GNC, this whey protein stuffed up, whatever. And I know it's crap, you
Yeah.
know, my answer was, yeah, go ahead. Sure. No problem. Go buy it. You know, I want to get this Fruity Pebbles stuff from Walmart that everybody says is great. I'm like, okay, you know, and so we did, you know, like I literally just let him go buy this stuff because it's like I didn't see the value in saying I need to educate you, 15-year-old boy. You know, that's not going to work. And so I let him do it. And guess what? I mean, the kid's he's come back to Shackley. He takes it every day. He loves it. You know, once in a while he'll get a few other things, but overall, like he is just core Shackley and almost unconsciously by his choice, you know. And so you know, I feel like he's going to be hopefully engaged as he becomes a young adult and more of an adult, you know. But core nutrition and youth activating serum is the long
Awesome.
answer to your short question.
I love it.
Well, I know you've done a ton of traveling and have earned a number of incentive trips as you rank advanced all the way up to, you know, presidential master coordinator. So talk a little bit about, oh, well, I was going to say we have been all around the world, but I know one of the favorite trips probably, I guess since Cheryl switched the slide on me, is Machu Picchu. So talk about that and some of maybe your other top trips that Shackley has taken you on.
Yeah, Machu Picchu is like one of those things where it's probably not going to be open forever. You
Right.
know, I mean, it's kind of they're gonna at some point shut it down. It's a bucket list life deal. You fly into Cusco and that's at 11 or 12,000 feet. And so, I mean, you're having a hard time breathing up there and you actually go down to Machu Picchu. So we took this train down
Wow.
through the mountains and you go down to this, and it was like this, I don't know how to say it other than the energy that was around this thing that people built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago was like you just sit in awe, you know, and just the people that you're with and the whatever. I mean, just the life experiences between that and you know, feeding a village of kids in Kenya, you know, and just the humbleness around all of that. And when I mean, Shakti's always really great about you know, there's a day of service, you know, and in Peru, we went to this village where a lady from Seattle had moved there to start a school because if kids had special needs, in Peru, there's just like there's nothing.
Mm.
Like you're discarded, right? There's no governmental support system. This lady said, I'm going to move here for a year, start a school to support kids that need a little bit of, you know, life skills, you know, like a developmental achievement center almost. And she said, well, that was 23 years ago. And here I am, you know? And so it was super cool. So Shackley went, we planted trees and we worked with these kids, and to see these kids, just the joy around their face and all these things, to try and do the best you can to just make a little difference wherever you are, and yet have this amazing life experience at the same time, you know, be it going to Paris or going to Kenya, or you're flying to Taiwan. I've been to Australia, I've been to Vietnam. We've been all over the world, you know, based, you know, just purely because of Shackley. You know, there are life experiences that, yeah, anybody can just go to a place, but you can't do it like with what Shackley is.
Right.
And, you know, and that's it's a special thing that only happens here, and it's worth working towards, in my
Right.
opinion, you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And the best part is that you do get to take people with you. And this is a quote from Kenny Trout's mom. On your way to the stars, take as many
Love
people
it.
with you as you can. Mama Nadine
I
said that.
love it.
Yeah.
I remember hearing those stories, you know, 20 plus years ago about Mama Nadine. You know, it impacts you, you know, like we all go through things that, whether it was those days 20 some years ago or today, we hear something that touches us, that impacts us, that changes us.
Mhm.
Um, and, you know, Dr. Shackley talks a lot about it in his book about like, I was just reading this quote to him last night. Like he said that mankind was not created to be complacent
Mhm.
or satisfied, or you know, or to just sit where we are. It doesn't really matter how old we are or what our life experience is or what our financial situation is or where our kids or grandkids are. Like God didn't make people to sit and say, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, sit and watch TV and chill and, you know, like That's not human nature. And if we think it is us, we're lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like there's always room for improvement. Our relationships can always be better. Our health can always be better. Our financial situation can always be better. And if your financial situation is so good that it doesn't really matter to you, other people around you, their financial situations can always be better. And those are things that we can impact, right? Either directly or indirectly. Like that's the call, that's the pull that has always been there since we were all whatever age. So if that's gone away, I encourage all of us to find that again. A touch of dissatisfaction in a positive way, to say we can improve and change, and we're at different stages in our life. If we're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or whatever it is. I mean, Dr. Shackley didn't start this thing until he was what, 65, 62?
Crazy. Yeah.
So we can go to the stars like the quote says here. It doesn't mean we had to start years ago. We can start today.
Right. That's right.
Well, and we want to, take as many people as we can with you. And you've done an amazing job helping hundreds and hundreds locally, and hundreds and hundreds and thousands,
hundreds of thousands,
tens of thousands globally.
I mean, he's probably got a goal for 1 million within the next few years.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that.
We've got somebody who's not muted here.
I'm trying to find them.
Yeah.
But as we wrap up, Shawn, we'd love to kind of hear your vision for the future. Like, where do you see Shackley in the next 5 years? And what do you think it's going to take for all of us here in this Zoom room to be a part of that incredible future?
I think obviously we all look at the last couple of years, and there was this period of time where, pardon the phrase, no one knew what the heck was going on in the world. And no one really knew like what did it mean to our business? Like, how would this flush out?
Right.
How would our kind of business, or in our profession, our industry, how would it flush out? How would building our kind of business flush out? What does it mean? And there are obviously some businesses that did really well during that period of time, and some that are not here anymore.
Yeah.
I think that with a little bit of hindsight in our rearview mirror now, we can look at it and say, if anything, there's no question that who and what Shackley is, it made us far more relevant in people's minds than we had ever been before.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing from people, like people that didn't used to pay attention to, I need to create other options in my life from a business and a financial perspective. Like I need some options. I need some choices, or I certainly need some options for health and prevention and wellness and all these things. Obviously these don't even need to be said. So I think it's brought to the forefront. It's taken this swath of people that were never really necessarily leaning in that are now leaning in.
Right.
And it's not like the 90s when people would look at networking and people would ride in a jet and take a picture of it and rent a Ferrari and look at my car, and all this. Like it's been a while now that stuff just doesn't sell. It doesn't work.
No.
Genuineness is what people want, and they want relationships and genuineness, and they want brand, and they want stability.
Right.
So I think that people look at Shackley and they say, this is what I'm seeing, is that people want that. They don't want the next biggest thing. They don't want the thing that's the flash in the pan here today, gone tomorrow. And so I remember the very, very first time I met Roger Barnett. I think some of us were all still trying to convince him, right, Marty, to buy Excel, back in the day. And, and I remember him very clearly 19 years ago saying, I could. He said, but the reality is that what your company offers is nothing more than a commodity, and it will be price driven, and it will do this and will do this. He said, what we offer people has nowhere to go but this forever. Like, it is an unstoppable whatever. And he said, I just choose to be in something that's this.
Yeah.
Right.
And I remember at the time, even though I was emotionally involved elsewhere, thinking, that makes a lot of sense, even though I don't agree with it and I don't like it. But That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's played out in a way of who we are. So I think that our future is finally we are finding out how to combine online and offline, a digital world, which
Yep.
is real, and will continue to be, and an offline world of relationships, and being able to merge all those things. Technology's allowed that in a way that it has never been able to
Right.
before, and yet be able to create our brand and still be able to say, I think we're within 3 to 5 years of being able to figure out what does that mean in a hybrid world of on and offline, of how we actually bring the story around the world.
Yep.
Right.
Like Shackley started to try and do it in India and things like that, but it was right at the beginning of all of this mess and this like
Yeah.
massive capital investment. I've been in Delhi half a dozen times, and you can drive for 3 hours and not get to the other side of the city. So does it have to be like I'm going to go to an office to go to a meeting? No, not in today's world at all. So how do we bring this hybrid model in around the world and let people know about the Shackley story? And I think that is, I think it's fascinating because I think we're in the middle of seeing that creation.
Right.
And I think 5 years from now, we'll look back and say, wow, that was really wild. How the world changed, Shackley changed. Now we're bringing the story around the world. And here we are sitting in our home in, sunny Fargo and sunny Minneapolis in February. And we're talking to people all over the world. I'm excited about that. Like I legitimately am. And like more and more people are leaning forward in the US and Canada, North America, wanting what we have. And so
Yep.
that's why I think it's a good time for us to be bold.
Yep.
Like I really think we should be bold. We should be bolder than we ever have. Shackley's going to bring some changes on. Love the changes. Be bold about them. Just go and share. And that's what I guess that's what Carmen and I are excited about.
And he hasn't seen our training that we did yet
No.
today, because Marty covered that in the training
Yeah,
today.
be bold.
Really?
Yeah, I talked about being bold and having that belief to propel you
Love it.
forward. And so the
Great
the
minds.
one that I always use is be bold and great and mighty forces will come to your aid.
I love it.
And
I love it.
we all need that help and that guidance and that support. And I think working together as a team, where we talk about, and we've heard so many times in the past that, team together, everyone achieves more, is really what this is about, taking everyone with us to
Yep.
the stars that wants to come along. We're not going to, take people dragging and kicking
Well, I
them.
might drag some.
Well, okay. But it is a little difficult to get across the finish line if you have to drag more than one.
Yeah, right.
So the idea is that, come join us and run with us, have some fun with us, and know that the future is extremely bright. So bright, we all need sunglasses and sunblock 30. So there you go.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree.
we love you, Shawn. We love everybody in this family, and we're really blessed that we found it when we did. I'm not going to
Agreed.
give my little testimonies. Shackley doesn't want me to say thank you, Jesus. Shackley healed me. But for those of you who know my story, they're studying my regimen at the Mayo Clinic because they can't explain. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, they can't explain, number one, why I still have my right arm, and number two, why I'm alive. They gave me 6 months to live, and that was 12 years ago. So, but we're not going to get into all the details. If people
Right.
want a copy of the story, they can message me. So,
Yeah.
Shackley definitely has changed our life and our family's life for the better. And we're just so happy to be on this mission with you and Carmen, because we love you guys and you're so fun and smart. And I don't think any of us can really imagine where we are going to be sitting in 5 years. When I said 1 million members for you, Shawn, that's kind of a small number. So don't be limited by that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And we love you guys too. I mean, we're just so grateful for your friendship and the family that we have with you guys, and your wisdom and your guidance. So thank you for that very much. It means a lot to Carmen and I.
Let's open the line so everybody can say thank you, Shawn. You better do it. You know how.
All right. Very good. Well, we'll just have everyone unmute.
Good to see you, Shawn. Way to go.
Good to see you guys too. Hey, Larry.
Yep.
Great to see everybody. So
Great to see you, Shawn.
Thank you.
Hey, Barbara, how are you? Great to see you.
Sorry.
He's got to redo it. Here we go.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead, guys. Now you can do it. Oh boy.
What did you do?
I don't know.
You got to click that allow. Yeah, there you go. That's
I
it.
think it's off.
Yep, it's good. Now we can hear you now.
Okay. Shawn, I've used your story with your miracle baby many times with couples. And I first met you in St. Louis probably about 25 years ago. So it's been great following you all these years and being friends. Thank
Well,
you.
it's great seeing you again too. I see some of your stuff on Facebook. I'm happy for you and your family, and it's great seeing you. I look forward to seeing you in person and giving you a hug, here next time.
Thank you, Shawn.
Jeannie is giving you and Steve hugs too. It's great to see you. You look awesome.
Great to have you on the call, Jeannie.
Pleasure.
I've learned more stuff. Jeannie came to Fargo and did an Excite training back in the day, and I have a picture of her holding our 18-year-old young man when he was about 2 or 1 in your hands and in your arms, and he's got a big smile and you have a big smile. It's just wild. It seems like yesterday.
I know you and Carmen have done a great job raising him. It's been a pleasure to watch his life through you as well.
One time Marty was speaking with Jeannie out east somewhere, and right after we had joined Shackley, he goes, "Which one is Jeannie?" I said, "She's the smart, beautiful, classy one."
Exactly. Yep. Who looks the same as she did when we joined 19.
Hello, almost 20 years later.
Sure.
I know.
Sure. I use that. What do you use, Shawn, on your face every day?
Am I what?
What do you use on your face every day?
Activating.
Oh, the youth
That's
activating
right.
serum.
Activating.
I love that stuff.
That's my favorite. Right.
And we can use it on our hands too.
That's a good idea. I love it. Well, it's great seeing all of you. Olivia, it's nice to see you, and I see so many awesome faces of
Shawn, just before you leave, just the old lady wanting to just pass you a hug and a kiss from here. And Jeannie's also been up to Edmonton, so she knows how cold it gets up here. But we're so lucky to have Cheryl and Marty leading this group because they just bring so much to you. But Shawn, I do want to talk to you sometime in the next week, 2, 3, whenever you have time. I really would like to hear your story because we lost a great granddaughter 2 years ago. She lived 5 days and died. And now my grandkids are trying to get pregnant again, and they're having trouble. And I'd love to get them onto Shackley. I'd love to have them hear your story. I'd like to talk to you about it. These people don't want to hear that. But
well, I'm sorry to hear about that. That's a tough thing. It's
been a sad couple of weeks.
Thoughts and prayers to them and your whole family, Olivia. But I'd love to. I think you have my either Facebook or my mobile number, right? Please reach out, and I'd love to chat with you.
I'll send it to Shawn if she doesn't have it.
Cheryl, thanks.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Hey, Shawn.
Love having you.
Thank you all.
Well, thank you again, everyone. We'll say our goodbyes. We wanted to keep it to about a half hour to not take up too much of Shawn's time. We love you, brother, and great to see everyone on here. Appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedules to be here. This is recorded, and we'll have an opportunity to put this up.
It'll be up on paidtobegreen.com tonight.
There you go. All right.
Marty, Cheryl, you're awesome. Hi, Sue Holte. Nice to see you. It's good to see you.
Thanks for sharing.
All right. Love you all. Happy New Year. Happy Chinese New Year. It's Chinese New Year.
Year of the dragon, baby. Let's go, dragon.
Hey, my daughter's a dragon.
Is she?
So is Marty.
So's Marty and Roger Barnett.
Yeah. Roger and I are both golden dragons. Yep.
You got the big 6-0 coming up.
I do.
What is that? Oh boy.
In August.
In August. And then Roger.
All right, we're gonna celebrate then.
Yep.
Well, you and Jade are dragons. I love it.
All the best.
All right. Well, love you all. You take care. All the best.
Guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.